So our school, it's a all kindergarten building, and we have started this year implementing social emotional learning times throughout the day. And so for an hour in the morning and then about an hour and a half in the afternoon, we have a group of about 9 or 10 kids who are pulled from their classroom to go focus on their social emotional health. These kids are the kids that are typically known as behavioral kids. They struggle to stay regulated, and we really focus in those times, going through conscious discipline, again with them, going through the feeling buddies, teaching about feeling. Big feelings are okay, but we have to learn how to handle them and how to move on and kind of de-escalate ourselves. And so in those groups, it's great because those kids get this kind of that second dose, or some of them even a third dose of these skills and these strategies, so that they can continue on with their day. And kind of the flip side of it is it actually really helps with our school family within our classrooms. It gives kind of everybody an opportunity to continue on where they need to be, because during that time, the kids that are still in the classroom, they're continuing on with some of the academic stuff that they're ready for, as were these kids who have such a social emotional deficit. They need the social emotional side of things rather than the academics at this point.
So why should we have this in our school? I get that question a lot, and I've been asked that by my principal and by other administrators and people of leadership in our school. And from a teacher's perspective, I would say that conscious discipline is important because our end goal is for students to learn. But if we neglect to identify where students are when they walk into our classroom, when they walk into our school, and we don't see that, man, they're in survival state, or maybe they're in emotional state, their brain is not in a place where learning is going to stick and stay, that's going to affect our end result. And if our goal is to help students learn, we want to be able to support them so that they can go, okay, I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm calm, I can now be ready to learn.
An example that comes to mind was even 3 weeks ago. I had a little one that came in and told me about an event that had just happened in their family, and it was quite alarming, and they were hurt through the situation. And this little person said, "Do you think, Mrs. Camp, that's because they were in their survival state that this happened?" And man, I just was a moment to sit back and say, this student has the ability at 6 years old to be able to say, yes, this happened. Yes, I was hurt by it, but it wasn't to me. This person was going through something. Yes, this happened, but we're going to make it and we can handle it. And that was really powerful.
It's really great that we have in our district the ability to do that. And then, we work really hard on making sure that we give those kids exactly what they need. We always look at reading and math scores to start an intervention with, but we also have to take that same approach with social emotional health. If a kid isn't able to self-regulate, they're not going to be able to learn math, science, social studies. So we really focus on, okay, this is what this child needs right now. Let's go ahead and give them that so that we can continue on with our learning. It may not happen in kindergarten that they learn how to fully read, but they now know how to self-regulate so that we can move on eventually. So I take the first 3 weeks of school, and I really focus just on creating that school family. We do a lot of our basic skills type, learning how to use scissors appropriately, how to use our pencils, all of our tools appropriately, and we do it in a way that allows the kids to create rules and create expectations with them so that we have an understanding as a class family that this is why we keep our tools safe, why we keep our friends safe. And then I really focus on implementing the safekeeper rituals as well, so that they can see that every teacher that they see during the day is willing to keep them safe. And so like when we take them to PE for that first 3 weeks of school, we take our safekeeper box with us and we say, this is Mr. Janess. His job is to keep you safe. Your job is to help keep it that way. And so we do that, and then we focus on going through all of our commitments. We have the list of our school expectations that our kids commit to every day. They get to choose one of the 6 commitments. And so we take them one by one and we commit to it as a class until we get through all 6. And then they get to start choosing on their own and going up and doing it on their own as they come in every morning. So we really take that time so that, this time of the year we don't have to focus on it as much. We're able to really just focus on academics. I'm 3 weeks behind at the beginning of the year because I focus on so much of the social emotional health, but now we're caught up with the rest of the school because I'm able to continue teaching even after all these crazy snow days that we've had. I'm able to keep teaching because we have our school family down and everybody knows what the expectations are. I've done this the 3 weeks for the last 2 years. It was really the first year I didn't do that, and I've seen just a huge change in kids' ability at this time too, because they've been given the confidence. They've been taught that you can do this, you've got this, just keep trying. And it's not. I don't see kids giving up as easily. When things get hard, they support each other, which is great. And a few months ago, I took over a different classroom for a little bit, and to kind of go in and reset some kids and reset the group after their teacher left unexpectedly. And it was great to see my class, as I was explaining to them that I wasn't going to be their teacher for a short amount of time. As the kids were kind of going through their emotions and their feelings, seeing them reach out to their peers and saying, at 5 years old, they're like, we can do this, we can handle this. And it was really cool to see how our school family, during that kind of a crazy time, really came together even more.
Their language and ability to see a situation and have tools to solve the situation on their own, mind-blowing. In kindergarten, we start with things like, is it safe or unsafe, helpful, hurtful? We have the time machine as a tool. And now I have kids that last year would have needed me to hold their hand the entire time through the process, several times a day. They'll walk into the classroom, grab a time machine, lay it out, come to the carpet. I didn't even know they were doing it until I'm like, oh, wow, great. You just put the time machine away. And they can handle their own issues, and they can identify when something upset them, and they can say, I didn't like that. Can you next time do it this way? So they now have the tools to teach people how they want to be treated. And it was such a gift to be able to see kids learning this process and learning how to regulate, and then actually doing it and implementing it. And they are so young. You think about, okay, they're 6, 7 years old now. If they can continue to do that through adulthood, and they can teach their own children that, wow, I just think such a gift. And the language is really the most obvious change in these kids. They can talk amongst each other, solve their own problems, like, that wasn't very safe, or that wasn't very hurtful, or that was very hurtful, that wasn't very helpful. And I feel like, gosh, they might not even need me anymore. They could teach this to them, to another class on their own.
I've been able to watch students walk in different brain states, so survival state, emotional state, executive state, and I've been able to identify right away, oh, where are you at when you're walking into the room? Are you ready here to learn today? And if not, then I can step in or provide them with the structures so that they can find calm, feel a sense of safety, know that they're in this class family, they're in a classroom, they're in a place where they're loved, so that their brain does say, now I can learn again. It's been huge. I know that growth mindset is a big thing on people's minds, and it's been awesome being able to take those steps of what state are we in to learn, and move forward so that students can say, I can handle this, I can do this, I'm going to give this another try. But it's taking those steps to recognize and notice how kids are when they walk in the room, to be able to say, all right, you can do this, let's work through this, take a deep breath with me, you can handle this.
We have a new student this year that doesn't know all the skills and the tools yet, and looks at their classmates in kind of wonderment over why they aren't upset about whatever just happened, and they are able to move on and have tools to solve their problems. And one new student that I had this year said, "Why does everyone talk so funny here?" And I said, "What do you mean?" "Every time I take this kid's toy, he says, 'That's very hurtful. Please give me my toy back.' That is so strange." And it's a testament to these kids that they're not self-imploding anymore. They're not crying or coming to tattle to me. They're saying, "Hey, I didn't like that. I don't want you to treat me that way." And new people who have never been exposed to that language are like, "Something strange is happening here. I don't know what it is, but I'm starting to think maybe I want to know about it."
Conscious discipline is really important for me personally as a teacher, and I believe that it's very important for other teachers to learn as well. When I first started teaching, I assumed that because my students were sitting in their desks quiet and working, that they were in fact learning. As I've grown as a teacher and through using conscious discipline, I began to notice that maybe that student that appears to be on task really isn't learning because their brain and their body are not in the right place. They might be emotional that day, or they might be worried about their safety that day, and then their brain is not functioning the way it needs to be functioning for them to learn. So as a teacher, realizing that the brain drives everything means that we really need to pay attention to how the brain works and where kids are at when they come into the room. Are their brains in a place where they're ready to learn, or do we need to provide structures so that they can feel safe, they can feel calm, and then maybe be ready to learn? So we have to provide those opportunities for them. And as a first-year teacher, second-year teacher, even third, fourth, fifth-year teacher, I thought I had it. And it wasn't until I used all of the pieces of conscious discipline to realize that we really do have to teach the whole child. We have to start from the foundations, and we have to work up. And while learning is a priority, learning doesn't happen unless that child feels like they are in a safe, calm, and loving environment. So that's why I feel like conscious discipline is a beautiful thing for teachers to have in place.
It's really empowering for even the kids with the most trauma. Even if they don't know the skills and they're around other people, they can begin to find a new way to solve their own issues or questions or ways of operating in their own life.